you picture me. I have rubber boots on. I have like two cameras strapped around my body with 2 different lenses on it, and I'm running back to the skiff boat. And to get onto the skiff boat, there's actually 3 stairs that you go down at the front of the boat to get into the boat. So as I climbed back into the boat and I started to walk down to where my bag was, and as I got to probably the 3rd step, I don't know which one, my foot slipped and I fell backwards and I landed on the metal stairs with my back. So full weight of me, and basically
the back literally broke the fall.
Yeah, the back literally broke the fall.
Yeah, and his back.
In this episode, we are going to talk about what it's like to break your back deep in the Amazon, the harrowing tale of getting back home to Canada from the Amazon with a broken back, and an enema, painkillers, insurance, laxatives or lack of laxatives, and so much more. Believe it or not, a broken back is only the beginning, and I couldn't have picked a better way to close the season of the Travel Horror Stories podcast. Oh, and Steven Spielberg or James Cameron, pay close attention. I got your next blockbuster.
You're listening to the Travel Horror Stories podcast, a show that listens to real stories from travel bloggers and travelers just like you. Then we unpack those stories to discuss safety tricks, prevention treats, horror hacks, and follow-up tactics. The goal is to turn travel nightmares into dreams of beaches, sunshine, and margaritas.
And as always, you can head over to travelhorrorstoriespodcast.com for this and all the previous episodes. There's show notes and links to all the other places you enjoy listening to podcasts. If you're listening via Apple Podcasts, don't forget to give the episode a 5-star rating and leave a comment, because that will help more people find the show.
So do you guys remember that little thing that you guys did? And now live from the Rudderless Travel Studio in downtown Toronto, Canada, here's your host, Christopher Rudder.
Oh, I forgot. What do we do?
Just what he said.
Hey everybody, it's Dave and Deb, and we are live from downtown Toronto at Rudderless Studios.
Yeah.
Christopher Rudder. Like that? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll say
well,
hi,
yeah.
it's Dave and Deb of the Planet D, and we are, and you go, and we are live.
We are live from downtown Toronto at Rudderless Studios with...
Oh, the Planet D?
No!
What am I saying?
Christopher Rudder.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know, okay. We're recording now, you gotta keep this in.
Totally. That's the reason
Okay.
why I'm just
Okay.
letting it go.
I am ready
my
now.
gosh.
All right.
Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Hey everybody, it's Dave and Deb of the Planet D.
And we're coming to you live from Rudderless Studios in downtown Toronto with the lovely...
Christopher Rudder.
Woo! Fist bump! Woo! The crowd goes wild. Hey, Chris.
Oh my gosh, I love it. How you guys
I didn't
doing?
really do my radio voice that time.
That's all right. You can save your radio voice for another
I should have done
episode.
my radio voice.
You see,
What
the thing
movie
is,
do you want to watch?
you could definitely do your radio voice for another episode, because you guys must have so many stories. So that was the whole reason why I was thinking of like just bringing you guys back. I mean, you can't tell me that you guys have traveled for 10 years straight and don't have travel horror stories, please. So
Yeah, we got enough of them, that's for sure.
I know.
We got-
Sometimes we think we're the worst travelers.
oh my gosh. Wow. So how are you guys doing? I know that we were talking off air, but now that we're recording, we have to go through that whole thing again. So how are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good, you know. It's nice to see that we're hopefully coming out of this a little bit, and we'll be able to get out there and travel soon.
There's light at the
There's light at the end of the tunnel, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working hard, obviously, from home, our home office here in Paris, Ontario.
In downtown Paris, Ontario.
There's the radio voice. But like I was saying to you off air, you know, like we're working hard on balance, right? Like I think everybody has that struggle between work and life and trying to find the perfect balance between the two. But now that the weather's warmer, getting outside, getting on the bikes, doing some hiking, getting, you know, getting the blood going.
Yeah, enjoying our own backyard. So we're getting excited to gear up, get into these phases around Toronto area so we can start discovering Ontario a little more and hitting the road.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's the best thing to do right now. And as I was mentioning to you before, like I'm discovering all these little nooks and crannies that I was always fascinated by international travel and completely missing like all these little things in my own backyard. So I think the one thing the COVID did, I mean, there's a couple of things, but one thing COVID did is it totally forced us to travel locally. And I think that's like been, for me, it's been a blessing in disguise. So I totally agree with you.
I agree with you totally, because for us, like we always looked at like Ontario and Canada, that kind of stuff being when we got older. But suddenly we're older now. But we, like we could do that after we had done all the international travel. But it's sort of being.
We have everything here. We have climbing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to do here in Ontario.
We've got so much in Ontario. It's great in all of Canada.
For sure. Now, for those listening who, for some odd reason, don't know who you are, just let us know who is Dave and Deb and who is the Planet D.
All right. Well, we are Dave and Deb, and we named the Planet D after our initials D. Dave and Deb. How smart is that?
It's brilliant. It's genius.
We were big Lonely Planet fans, and that was kind of our guidebook through the early 2000s when we were traveling, and we were like, I want to be something like the Lonely Planet. So we were like, hey, we're Dave and Deb. Let's be like the Planet D. So that's how we got our name.
But we are an adventure travel blog, so our motto is adventure is for everyone, meaning adventure is different for everybody. And our goal sort of is to go out there and show that you don't have to be an uber athlete, super fit, or super rich in order to be an adventurer, because we're not any of that.
We're none of the above.
Oh my gosh, you guys have been on some crazy adventures, though. I mean, I've seen. I mean, you guys have been traveling full time for 10 years. So I mean, there's so many. You look back into your feeds and your pictures, you must come across like, holy smokes, like how much adventurous things did you guys do? Like it's nuts.
Yeah, during the lockdowns, it's been really great because we've actually had a chance to go through all our photos and videos that we hadn't seen for the past 10 years, because we were literally running from one thing to another all of these years. Like once we started the travel blog, we were one of the early bloggers out there. So once we started riding the wave of contracts and traveling, we were just kind of going, well, we got to make hay while the sun shines. So we just kept running from contract to contract without looking back. And this year gave us a lot of time to reflect on all of the adventures that we've done. And it's been amazing to see, and it's been amazing to relive. And I think that's where the balance in our life has really come out, where we're going, we need to savor the moment a little bit more and smell the roses a bit, because there was a lot of travels that we were like, that was great, and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
you're right. It's the same thing for me as well. I've been like looking back, because as you're fixing old posts and updating them, you're like looking back at those pictures and that time, and you're like, I remember that was that time when this happened and this happened, and then it becomes very nostalgic. Yeah, it's actually soothing in a way. It's almost like self-help or mental health, like in a way.
It really is.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love like taking photos and videos wherever you go, and that's one of the great things about technology nowadays is you can capture all these moments, and you may not reflect back on them in the moment, but as you get older and you start to look back, you have those to reflect back on. And I love that. I love looking at old photos and old videos of all that crazy stuff we did.
Heck, we've been even digging back to the old photo albums all those photo albums we bought in Thailand.
What the hell is a photo
album? Those bamboo photo albums and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was fun. I was putting even those together. I was getting crafty over the lockdown.
Imagine that. The only thing I don't like about looking back at my pictures is that I notice that there's less like gray hair around the beard and stuff like that. And it's like, oh yeah, look how I looked back then.
That's what Photoshop's for.
I know, we were so young. We were just so young.
Oh my gosh.
Give myself a little touch up around the gray beard, Harry.
Yeah, exactly. with Photoshop.
Yeah, that's what really Dave spends all his time
Yeah.
on, just touching up all the grays.
Just
We'll
me.
remove some of that.
Just you.
We'll remove some of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. All right, so I know that I mean, because I know you guys well. We've known you guys for a long time. I always say that you guys are like my sister and brother. So I know you guys love playing games. I'm not even going to ask if you guys want to play a game because I know that that's just a given. So let's play 3 stories, 2 truth, 1 lie. You're going to give me 3 stories. 2 of them are going to be true. 1 of them is going to be a lie, and I'm going to try to guess which one is the lie. I think I won last time, but then again, last time you guys cheated because you gave me 4 stories. So
We did. We gave Dave
So much for
to
following
throw in
rules,
an extra
whatever.
bonus. I know we never follow the rules.
Yeah.
never follow the rules.
We're
but
not rule followers.
it's all good. I love it.
Yeah, we were brainstorming some 3 lies today, and if for those
Not
of you,
3 lies.
3 lies.
2 truths and a lie. Come on, you
All right.
don't even have the
Well,
rules
then-
of the game down, bro.
Well, then, whatever story you tell me, it's a lie.
Well, 3 lies, no matter what we win, right? But we went with the theme of music because, as you know, before we got into blogging, Dave and I were really big into music. I went to school for music theater and sang on cruise ships, and Dave was a drummer, and so we thought we'd go with our music theme of some interesting things that we've done.
Yeah, definitely. So,
We'll start with the first one.
so are you ready?
They're good ones.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
They're pretty short and sweet too. So.
Well, I'll keep it
Nice.
short and sweet. But there were incredible moments. The first one I wanted to talk about was when I actually sat down and had beers with the Rolling Stones and hung out with Keith Richards as well as Mick Jagger. But Keith Richards mostly I chatted with more than Mick Jagger. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Fun fact: his drink of choice is vodka and orange crush.
Wow.
In case
Okay.
you're wondering.
All right. And I have actually had a slice of pizza with Ringo Starr.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
Wow.
fun fact, we had a deep conversation about a squirrel.
There we go.
What's your fun
And
fact?
no.
Dave, we've added fun facts. I just copied Dave on the fun fact.
It's an educational program.
Yeah.
And finally,
And finally was a time where we both actually got to sit down and go to tea with Roger Daltrey from The Who, which was pretty amazing. The fun fact there, he takes only a little bit of milk in his tea.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. So I literally have to guess because you started off
we're
with the
staying
rules.
with the music theme.
Yeah.
The music
Yeah,
theme.
I know.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you're telling like one of them's a lie, but the other 2 are true. So that's pretty impressive, I have to say. You know what I mean? That you're hanging around with these celebrities. That's brilliant. Okay. Oh man. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna have to go with the first one. I'll just have to go with the Rolling Stones.
Oh wow!
No,
As a fake
that
one?
is true.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow.
No,
I thought Dave was going to go. I thought you gave it away once you went really specific with the orange crush, and I was like, well, now I've got to go with a specific.
Yeah, but you did a very good job. No, that is true. Yeah.
You guys absolutely kill me. Like we're playing a game, but you guys are literally plotting to make sure that you guys win.
We want to win so bad.
Like I love it. Okay, so that's
Too
true.
bad.
Okay, so well, oh man. Okay, so well, you just tell me which one's the lie then, and then we could get into the story.
The lie is
The lie is the Roger Daltrey having tea with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
and
man.
it was a true fact that I actually talked about a squirrel with Ringo Starr. So.
Oh
there you
gosh.
go.
Okay. So now you got to just elaborate a little bit on that because I'm just like, is it because they don't have squirrels where they're from? Is that the reason why? So you're trying to describe it?
This one I always laugh at this one because I was working on a Pizza Hut commercial out in British Columbia years ago when I worked in the film industry. And I was just a lonely production assistant. And Ringo Starr it was when they were doing those crazy Pizza Huts when they had the stuffed slice.
Stuffed crust.
Stuffed crust.
Stuffed
So it was
crust,
Ringo
okay.
Starr and the Monkees were on it. So it was pretty
wow.
cool. And Ringo Starr, I was just standing like keeping crowds back, right? And we were in the middle of Stanley Park, and Ringo Starr was standing on a bridge in the park, and I was the only one there, and he was talking to me, and the squirrel ran by, and he's like talking about the squirrel, and I was just awestruck because all I kept saying to myself is, "You're a beetle, like you're a beetle," and I didn't know what to say, and I just was staring, and I was like so embarrassed. I came home and I said to you, I just like stumbled over my words. I was really embarrassed my whole time talking to Ringo Starr. I had him all to myself, and all I could do was talk about squirrels.
I think that's sort of it with all of them, is that like, or with the two, is like we kind of get tongue tied because this was early on.
Well, these are icons.
Yeah,
too.
like these are definitely icons, and you find yourself in situations like with me when again we were working in the film industry and we were shooting promos with the Stones for their concert, and it was like a week long of shooting promos. A very
cool thing is when the Rolling Stones came back to do their one album years ago, they chose Toronto to do their whole 1 week of media. They made everybody come to them in Toronto because they love the city so much. So I thought that was cool.
Wicked. Yeah, so we were shooting.
So Dave spent a week with them.
Yeah, no. So I spent a week with them, hanging out. Very small crew, not hardly anybody there. But them sort of doing their press and their interviews, and then got to hang out, have some beers with them, jam, play some tunes, that kind of stuff. It's one of those moments that's incredibly surreal, and that you sit there when you're talking to them. It's like you're a Rolling Stone. Like that's the only thing that's going through your mind. That's what I find with a lot of super famous musicians, like especially musicians to me.
Yeah.
Sort of have that iconic status where you're trying not to sound stupid. But and trying to find a common thread of something to talk about.
Yeah.
But
trying to sound cool. And because you were saying off the top that you're a drummer, so so you're actually jamming with them.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. But I wasn't playing drums with them, but they were jamming, and I was there.
Dave was air drumming.
I definitely. I don't think Charlie Watts would have let me jump on the kit there. We were all drinking beers.
Did Brian have his guitar?
No, nobody had their guitar. But
okay.
I
wasn't there. So
we got to sit around and listen to them jam. They wouldn't let us partake. So, but that's cool.
Just the fact that you're like around them during the session, like that. That I would like. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant! Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, since they're still performing, like if they come back here to Toronto for a tour, like would you be able to get like backstage passes, or is that something? Do you think they'll remember you, or?
Not at all.
I don't think they remember day to day, let alone would remember me.
It would just be that crew in Toronto that was there for that time. They did one of their many media blitzes. That was a pretty big deal.
But it was very nice for you to think that I would be that impressionable. That the Stones would especially remember me.
Exactly.
Oh, they did, Dave.
This is exactly where I was going. I was hoping they come back to Toronto. I wonder if that boy David is still here. Maybe we should go hang out with him.
Exactly.
No. Anyways, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, those are amazing stories. I never would have thought.
Now we have to come back on again because we're tied to
1-1. Yeah.
1-1.
Yes, totally. Well, you guys brought it this time, and those are fantastic.
We thought long and hard. We had to redeem ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. What would you do if while 4 days in on a tour deep within the Amazon, you slip on the stairs of a skiff boat and break your back? Why were you there? Like, what inspired you to go there? And then how did the whole story unfold? You can start from the beginning.
We're talking about the Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The broken.
Yeah. We're talking about the Amazon. Yeah. All of a sudden I'm going, are we talking about music, or are we talking about a squirrel, or are we talking about... Yes.
We are done with the squirrel.
Yeah. We're done with the squirrel, the pizza, and the vodka and orange crush. We can now move on to the Amazon.
All right, yes. Our actual job of traveling. Yeah, this happened at the end of 2014. It was, we had been traveling pretty hard in 2014, or like from 2009 to 2014, and we went to the Amazon with International Expeditions. We had been talking with them for like a couple of years about finally going. And we finally made it. Dave and I had never been to the Amazon before, and we were very excited. We went to the Peruvian Amazon, and we hopped on a boat and started sailing down the Amazon River in the middle of nowhere. And we were about 4 days into our trip of a 10-day trip. That it was very wonderful and amazing. And there was a day that something happened.
Yeah, and I remember. Well, obviously, I remember that day.
It was a day.
It was
not so long
It was
ago.
a warm, sunny day on the Amazon, as they always are. And I remember the morning, because the morning we were out looking for wildlife, to photograph wildlife, and we were on skiff boats. And for people who don't know what a skiff boat is it's a long metal boat with an outboard engine on the back.
That can take you to the
that can take you through the very small tributaries. So we were on a bigger boat, and then we would get on these skiff boats to go and explore wildlife or go and visit villages or anything to do with getting off the boat itself. So we were on the skiff boat out in the morning enjoying the wildlife, and I remember we had stopped for lunch, had lunch on the boat, and then we were going hiking in the afternoon to do a small hike along the shores and into the forest there. So as I was getting ready, for those of you who don't know, I'm a travel photographer, so I have all my camera gear on me, getting ready to go, and we're getting ready to hike, and we get off the boat, and we had to wait actually for a little bit because there were a lot of people of advanced age on this cruise, and they had to go to the bathroom before we went hiking.
Yes, I just want to preempt something too. We have always been, like everyone always has been like, oh, you're big adventure travelers. We cycled the continent of Africa. We did the Mongol Rally. We've hiked mountains and climbed to Kilimanjaro and Everest, etc. So when this accident happened in the Amazon, people were like, oh my gosh, you must have been on like amazing adventure. And we were like, no, we were on a luxury cruise in the middle of the Amazon, and we just finished having our cool towel lunch.
Our picnic lunch. And the crew was busy setting up a porta potty for the elderly people who needed to go to the bathroom. They didn't even go to the bathroom, like dig a hole. No, they were setting up a toilet.
They were setting up a porta potty.
Oh my
so while we
gosh.
were waiting, Dave and I were having an in-depth discussion. You never even use a flash, but for some reason I was like...
Well, because it was dark, and it was like, I'm going to do some macro photography, so I thought the flash might be good.
And I was like, you better get your flash. And we're having this long discussion while everyone's in line going to the toilet. And it's almost like an argument almost about, like, should I get it? Well, I'll just go get it. Okay, fine, I'll run back to the boat and get it. And then...
So you picture me, I have rubber boots on, I have like two cameras strapped around my body with two different lenses on it, and I'm running back to the skiff boat, and to get onto the skiff boat there's actually 3 stairs that you go down at the front of the boat to get into the boat. So as I climbed back into the boat and I started to walk down to where my bag was, and as I got to the third step, I don't know which one, my foot slipped and I fell backwards and I landed on the metal stairs with my back. So full weight of me, and basically
the back literally broke the fall.
Yeah, the back literally broke the fall.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh, I'm cringing.
Yes.
Yeah, it was it was crazy, and I knew that I had done something really bad. Like I let out obviously an awful scream.
I'll never forget the scream. I knew it at the minute as well. We were standing I was in the jungle far, a few hundred meters away, or a couple hundred, I guess. And I heard like this massive scream I've never heard from Dave before. And I just dropped everything and ran. And there he was with what we found out later was 2 broken vertebrae.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
So the crazy thing was
Chris talk.
I completely remember that when I fell, the first thought that went through my head was, okay, I need to move my feet. I need to make sure that I'm not paralyzed. That was the first thing that went through my mind. So I could feel my feet and I could move my toes, so I knew I wasn't paralyzed, luckily.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I know, I just told Dave, let Chris talk, but Chris is going, oh, he's in pain.
I don't even know what to say. My back is hurting.
After that,
mine too.
After that, the ordeal began. Believe it or not, it was a crazy time just getting out of the Amazon. And after Dave, I came back, and luckily we were on a cruise that had less than 40 people. So when you're on a ship that small, you don't have to have a ship's doctor or anything like that.
Right.
So there wasn't really anyone there qualified to look after Dave that was on the cruise, not to any fault of theirs, you just don't have to. But luckily, one of the people on the cruise was a retired emergency nurse from the States.
Oh, okay.
And she was great at her job. She took all of the frozen pieces of...
our frozen towels.
That we all had for our dinner out of the icebox and put it all over Dave's back. And didn't move them, but got them all secure.
They strapped me with the pillows because they had nothing to secure my back, right? So they put me
that was going to be my
pillows
question.
and wrapped towels around me and tied them so that I could stay.
Yeah, and she kept him stable. And then the crazy thing was, everyone else went out on their hike. The rest of the trip.
And we waited for them to come back.
And we waited for them to come back.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's so wicked.
So I'm laying in this metal skiff boat tied to a bunch of pillows in the fetal position in 100-degree heat, waiting with 2 broken vertebrae, waiting for people to come back from the hike.
My vivid memory is Dave's in serious pain, and I'm just going, that's it. It's amazing how your life goes. Suddenly our life will never be the same. But I just remember our guides, who were fantastic, running around in the other skiff boat with the satellite phone trying to get a signal to call for an air ambulance. And I just remember them always looking in the air, and they're driving up and down with
no signal. Because we were pretty far down the tributaries. We were in the middle.
We were literally as far down the Amazon as you can get. We were going to be turning around the next day. We were 4 days into a 10-day trip, so we only had one more day until we had to turn around.
Oh my gosh.
So everybody came back from their hike and were completely shocked that we were still there. And they're like, what's going on? And we're like, okay, we got to get Dave back to the boat now. And that was another crazy ordeal because it was a good, half hour or so down the tributaries to get to the boat. And then Dave's in this makeshift, I don't know,
like a makeshift cot, or not
gurney.
Gurney,
yeah.
That's it.
Gurney, yeah.
And they're going, we can't bend his back, and he can't stand up because we don't know what's wrong. So they're like, how are we going to get him into the boat? And they couldn't get him into the boat.
Because the hallways are so narrow, it's 90-degree turn to go down the hallways, and I can't turn.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So it was really terrifying because they had to drive the skiff boat around to, every boat on this was an all suites. Like we said, it was like this luxury cruise. So we had a patio door, so they drove around to our room and then shoved him up through the patio door.
Yeah, from the skiff boat, loaded me through the patio door into my bed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's almost like this is like a comedy show. I mean, it's not that
it
it's
is a comedy
funny.
show.
I mean, not that the situation is funny. I mean, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Well, he's fine now. We're making jokes too, so it's cool. It's fun.
Of course, but I mean, it's just like, all right, just shove him through here.
I'm not even going to. Yeah, it was insanity.
And then just curious, sorry. So they went on a hike. So they completed the hike anyways. How long was that hike? Was that?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Time was kind of weird because I was in panic mode. Dave was just in pain. So for you, it was like forever. It was.
Yeah, I had no concept of the timeline because I was just in constant pain the whole time.
I would say probably 20 minutes to half an hour. Maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't a long hike.
This was once again, it was like one woman on the trip was 90 years old. So this was just a leisurely hike around.
Leisurely hike. That seems like it's going to be forever.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have cut it short. I don't know.
They might have radioed back and said, get back here. But all I remember is them coming back and I'm like, we're still here. I was panicky going, we got to get out of here. But I also was told we can't go anywhere anyway. They've got to get a hold of the satellite.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm just trying to understand a little bit. So you were in the skiff boat. So you got on the skiff boat from the main boat. So then you sailed out. So then you said something about the metal stairs. So you're talking about the metal steps that are inside the skip boat, like that.
Well, what they do is
in order for you to get out. of the boat?
Yeah, they have metal stairs that they just set up on the ground to have you walk down. Like, this is all really fancy and done well for you, so you don't have to get in the water. They pull the skiff boats up to the shore and then set the metal stairs on to the shore in the boat, right? Is that how it worked?
No, the metal stairs are at the bow of the boat.
Oh, they're at the bow of the boat? Okay. Oh, I know, the bow.
Believe me, I know. I remember.
The bow jut out, right?
Yeah.
The bow jut out onto the shore, so you would step on the boat and then go down.
So that's where you... That's where I fell. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So you already kind of started walking.
Oh yeah.
Ahead? Okay. Oh my gosh. So
no. We were out in the jungle, and Dave ran back to the boat while everyone was going to.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why, because he was in a hurry trying to get back in time for them. Good news, he did save the cameras. He made sure that he kept the cameras up and didn't break a thing.
I didn't drop the cameras, but I broke my back.
Yeah.
It's probably why you broke your back.
Yeah.
Probably. Because I held both of them when I landed, so I didn't break my fall with my arms.
It's funny how you know what I'm not laughing because I probably would have done the exact same thing. Like
it's just instinct,
protect
right?
the cameras.
Yeah. We did lose the lens cap, and you were very upset about that in the later.
Well, lens cap. Honestly, these cameras are expensive, man. So but I totally hear you. But okay, so now that I got that understanding, so they got you back to the boat. So now they're having difficulty getting you onto the boat because of the skiff boat and the narrow hallway. So now they're shoving you through. So we
eventually got him into the room, and I'm like completely panicking. And luckily, this nurse, she was wonderful, and I should have looked up her name before we talked because she was amazing. We kept in touch with her too for a couple of years. She knew that I was losing it, so she told me to get out. And her and her grandson looked after Dave, and they were amazing because we were stuck on the boat for a good 4 or 5 hours while they were trying to get someone out to look after Dave.
Oh my gosh.
This is where I always, we didn't work with any travel insurance at the time. We just always, as Canadians, we always have travel insurance. And this is where I was starting to deal with the travel insurance part. And I was like, I called our travel insurance company, and I was like, there's a storm coming in and nobody's coming to get Dave because nobody wants to fly in. And they're thinking of calling the army in. And can we do that? And they were like, well, you're completely covered. Feel comfortable. Whatever they send in, we'll cover it. So the first thing we did is I got on the satellite phone of International Expeditions, let me use their phone. I talked to the insurance company, and they said, yep, call anybody. But 4 hours later, nobody would come. And we finally got this very decrepit, awful float plane that had holes in it and no door, and all this mess came in.
Oh, my gosh. The story gets better and better.
Oh, yeah. So what happened? They loaded me out through the balcony again onto the skiff boat because I still can't go through the hallways.
And we're on a raging Amazon River.
Yeah,
so
the Amazon River.
Dave couldn't swim, so I was terrified because I was like, if he goes in, I'm going to lose my husband right in front of my eyes.
Because he obviously can't swim with a broken back.
No.
Never mind.
And he's all strapped up.
And I'm all strapped up, I can't move.
And the nurse is like, he can't eat anything because we don't know what's wrong. He can't take any painkillers, and he's not allowed any water. So you were just like starting to hallucinate and lose it. And I just remember her because I was scared because they had to move him from the skiff boat in moving water onto the plane. And the nurse is like, have I taken care of you so far, Deb? Have I taken care of him? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm not going to let anything happen. And like, I just accepted what she said. And I was like, okay, she's calmed me down. And in retrospect, I'm like, she's not the one putting him into the boat or into the plane. How is she not going to let anything happen?
Oh my gosh.
But they're shoving him into the float plane.
From the skiff boat.
From the skiff boat.
In the middle of the Amazon River.
In the middle of the Amazon River. And anyway, got him in. And then they send us on our way. They throw our luggage. Like I packed up in that 4 hours. And it was interesting. I talked to everybody on the ship. Like as I was not allowed to go back in the room with Dave. And people were like, do you have travel insurance? And I'm like, of course I have travel insurance. And people were like, I don't have travel insurance. I don't know what I would have done. Not one other person on that ship had travel insurance. And like we got emails afterwards where they were all like, you have taught me I will always have travel insurance now.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, that's going back to that. That's one thing I remember. Like
my
I'm
gosh,
sitting on the outside, like going.
And there's one part that you I don't think you kind of glazed over. You said there was a storm coming.
Oh yes, no,
Yeah.
that's don't worry.
Don't worry, there's more.
There's more.
Oh, okay.
This is
That comes into play.
this is
Don't
an
worry.
ordeal like you wouldn't believe. I don't think
okay.
we don't really go. I don't think you've heard the full story about this because we never.
No,
really
I haven't.
talk
Oh
about
my
it.
gosh! Wow.
So yeah, we got Dave into the plane, and I go in the front seat, and there's a guy who we thought was the doctor, but he was just a guy.
He was just a guy. So there's a pilot and another guy in there. They took all the seats out of the float plane.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no seats. And they put me on the floor, and face down, and I can see through the cracks in the floor. I can see the water.
Dave was getting a scenic view of the Amazon rainforest.
And they don't speak any English. They speak no English.
No, not one word.
Not one lick
They
of
didn't
English,
speak to us the
and we
whole
don't
flight.
speak any Spanish.
Oh my gosh.
So they told us. They told us before we left. Tell them about the 20-minute flight.
Oh, yeah, so they told us before we left. They said, okay, so it's going to be a 20-minute flight to get you to Iquitos, which is the main town to get to. So just relax, right? So, all right, well, relax as much as you can. So the float plane takes off. They close the door. The float plane takes off, and we're going. And I'm just looking through the thing, and it seems, again, like I said, I have no concept of time.
But it seemed like about 20 minutes.
We get up. It seemed like 20 minutes, and we start to go back down, right? And then we go back down, and
Dave's like, "Are we there
I'm
yet?"
Like, are we there? Oh, great! And Deb's like,
No, it's just like we were going right into a storm cloud, and I just saw this black cloud in front of us. Because I'm seeing the whole thing, and I'm just like, what are we doing? I can't go into this. So the pilot obviously felt the same. So he starts descending, and he lands on the Amazon River. Like, we're on a float plane. So we go down, and we're bumping along the Amazon River, and I'm like, we're not there yet. And he grabs onto a tree on an island or something in the middle of the river, and we hold onto the tree and let the storm pass. Well, Dave's in the back. And
I'm like, are we there yet? I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so we sat in the middle of the Amazon holding onto a tree branch from a plane for about 20 minutes or so while the storm passed. And then the pilot takes off, and we take off again and go up in the air. And we're driving around again for 20 minutes, but all around us, I just see dark clouds. Like, I'm talking super dark. This is Amazon rainforest dark. Terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
As we're flying another, I'm putting in 20-minute intervals.
I don't know the concept of time.
I'm just thinking of Dave in the back. He's inhaling fumes. He's in pain. We land again. And Dave's like, are we there? And I'm like, I think we're somewhere, because we were coming up to a village where there were a ton of people just standing on the shore. And I'm like, we're here. So we pull up to the side. The pilot gets out, doesn't say a word. The other guy gets out, doesn't say a word. And they hand a rope to a bunch of kids that are standing on the shore. And they just leave. And Dave's like, are we there yet? And I'm like, I think so. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I need to get to a hospital. What's happening here? You know? So
it's been
Can I just back it up for 1 second? Because I'm sorry.
Yeah.
this story,
I know, you got to back it up because we're telling it so fast and long.
This is like a feature film right here. Like, literally, this needs to be a movie. Like, I'm telling you right now.
It really is. I've watched those survival films, and I'm like, Dave's been through this because it gets better.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. And you keep saying it's getting better. I'm like, what the hell? What's to come right now? Okay, so I'm just a little bit confused with the purpose. I mean, I understand that the plane was in the air. It was probably flying not too high. I get that. So it landed again on the water on purpose because it probably felt safer there. Because essentially it could be like a little bit of a boat, right? But I'm a little bit confused as to why you're holding on to the branches of the tree. Like, what is that doing exactly with regards to the plane? Like,
that's a good point. Does it keep us from flying over, falling over? I have to say, it's the pilot. It's the pilot that was holding onto the tree. Like, he reached out the window and was holding onto a tree. And it was a major storm that went through. So I guess it was like I don't even know in retrospect. I just remember he was holding onto a tree.
I mean, like, is he Thor or something? Like, what?
Yeah,
like, is he preventing this plane from moving, from holding onto the tree?
Yeah, I guess he's just keeping it from I don't really know, to tell you
I
the
don't
truth.
know. I was just in pain laying on my face looking at the water. So
yeah,
I don't remember that.
Because I guess he can't park it. It's like tying up a horse. He just needs something to hold on to, right? So we just sat there waiting.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then I don't even know.
Now that I think about it, was he keeping us from flipping over? I don't even know.
That's what I'm wondering.
They didn't talk to us.
That seems like an odd detail. So that's why I just want to go back to that for a second.
That's my vivid memory of us. We're not just waiting it out and driving along the Amazon. He turns off the engine, and we sit there, and he's holding a tree.
But we had no answers because we don't speak Spanish, so we couldn't communicate with them at all.
No.
Jeez. Okay, and then I mean,
and they basically refused to look at us, like, and tell us anything. He just landed the plane and held onto the tree and just looked straight ahead and didn't even
I guess you're trying to.
Are you okay?
I guess you're trying to be like flight attendants, where they have to keep this face of
exactly.
Maybe.
Everything is okay, but meanwhile behind the scenes you're like, what the hell was that?
In retrospect, I'm thinking about it because the boat International Expeditions told us that we're going to call in the Army because of the storm, and I think nobody was willing to fly. So I think they got some guy from a nearby village, a local guy who's like, "Oh, I'll do it."
Okay.
And then I think he might have been up in the air going, why did I do this?
Why did I do this? Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then I mean, don't get me started, Dave, with like cracks in the floor. I don't even know where to go with that because you can literally see the water and all that.
And the Amazon below me while we were.
And he wasn't strapped in or anything, so I was worried every time we banked that he was going to fall out. Like it was just terrifying because it wasn't like the door wasn't secure. It was craziness.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we could go back to you've landed now. So now you're kind of like, okay, so are we there yet?
I think we're in Iquitos. Yes.
Okay.
This is where I think we are. I think we're in Iquitos, and Iquitos is the main city in the middle of the Amazon. The only way to get there is by flying or by a boat. Okay. So I'm like, okay, and that's where we were going to the hospital to get out.
Okay.
So after sitting there with the whole village has come to look at us now, and 2 kids are hanging onto a rope holding onto the plane. Like, we're not tied up or anything. We're still floating in the middle, and kids are holding onto a rope. Next thing I know, a whole slew of men from the village come walking out in like a big line. They come marching out, and they grab Dave, put him on their shoulder, start walking with them. They're grabbing our bags out. I'm running around going, where are we going? What are we doing? I'm running to catch up, making sure I didn't leave anything behind. They're walking through the village, everyone's following us, and then there's a tuk-tuk there waiting. And for those who don't know what a tuk-tuk is, it's a 3-wheeler, a big, it's more like it was a tuk-tuk.
It was a tuk-tuk, yeah.
Tuk-tuk 3-wheeler and motorcycle. They put Dave on that, and then they throw me on the front, and we start driving through the village. And I go, I don't think we're in Iquitos yet. So
and there's no roads. The roads are like potholed, dirt roads. So I'm getting smashed around in the back.
Yeah, and we don't know the extent of Dave's injuries yet. So I'm thinking to myself, if Dave's not paralyzed yet, he will be.
Yeah, with these potholes for sure.
Yeah, it was awful. And Dave's just screaming with everything. Like, we're kind of glossing over, but you were in severe pain.
I was in a lot of pain.
Like, and you're just because you haven't had a painkiller, you haven't had water, you haven't had food, and it's been about 6 or 7 hours now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how you've lasted that long because, I mean, he broke your back. Like, I mean, it's not
scared that if I moved, that I would do way more damage, that I was more paralyzed out of fear than anything else,
Yeah. No, I hear you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now you're going through the most uneven road ever for someone that has a broken back.
Well, there was a bit of a sigh of relief because we went through these things and we pulled in and there was an ambulance.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, finally, I'm going to get in an ambulance.
Yeah, that was only about a 10-minute drive on the tuk-tuk, the motorcycle, for everyone's looking, it's the 3-wheeler motorcycle. And what they have is they have a flat. Like, if anyone doesn't know what a tuk-tuk is they have, this one wasn't a covered tuk-tuk. It had a flat, carrying thing on it. So that's where
almost
they threw Dave on.
Like a pickup truck kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's with a motorcycle. Yeah. It's almost like, I was going to say, like the Songthaus of Thailand, but it's a 3-wheeler motorcycle with, like, a pickup truck in the back. And that's what they put Dave on.
Okay.
And so it was about 10 minutes on that, just going through these streets of some little town in the middle of nowhere, like really in the middle of nowhere. And then, like we said, we saw an ambulance. And I said, Dave, there's an ambulance. We're good to go. And we go pull into this nice thing, get on an ambulance, and it's really just a van painted white like an ambulance.
Yeah, it's not an ambulance. So they throw me in the back. They don't tie me down or anything. They just throw me in the back on this makeshift gurney. in the back, and they don't secure
Say
it
again,
or
anything.
anything. They don't say anything. We said nothing to anyone this whole time.
Yeah.
So they
my
shoved me in this
gosh.
thing, and then they drive like this insane madman. I was flying around
I'm
the back.
holding Dave in the
Deb's
back
like
against
holding
the
me
wall.
to try so that I wouldn't fly.
And we did that for a couple of hours. I didn't know where we were. Dave's like, where are we? I'm like, I don't know.
I still to this day have no idea where we landed on the river. I don't know.
Yeah, some little
my
town. I
gosh.
should really like try and get on Google Maps and see what town is close to Iquitos.
But it was a couple hours
Wow.
in the makeshift ambulance.
Yeah. So we finally got to Iquitos in the middle of the night, and that's when they took Dave in and did all of his tests, and finally came out and said that he had broken 2 vertebrae.
Oh my gosh.
And then it's like, I can't go home.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, they said one thing that was very good is that, and I don't even know how this is even possible, but it wasn't displaced.
Yes.
So
Or weight bearing.
Or weight bearing. So it hadn't moved it. So I was not a candidate for surgery. So
How is that possible? Out of
don't
all
know.
the entire
Pure
way,
luck.
like shoving you in boats, shoving you out of boats, going in planes face down, in a tuk-tuk in the back part, like going over like speed bumps galore, and
Yeah.
nothing moved. With your back.
Joyce, that was her name, Joyce, the nurse. I am going to credit Joyce. It just came to me because she must have wrapped. Well, she did wrap you up.
Yeah.
Dave was patted all over him
Oh, nice.
and
Okay,
wrapped
okay.
strong. And
But still, I don't know how I didn't. It wasn't displaced, or I didn't need surgery. But then I had to stay in. I had to stay in Iquitos, which is not what
then
I
we
would
had
say.
the
is
9-day
like,
ordeal in Iquitos,
Yeah.
and that's where it got real fun for me.
yeah, it was all
gosh.
because me. I'm just out of it most of the time on heavy drugs.
Yeah.
Because basically they're saying their way of. It's not advanced medicine, right? So like their idea is you broke
Stay
into a
still.
vertebrae, don't move. Like you just need to stay there. So they just fed me with tons of drugs, and I just laid in bed.
And I'll never forget, the one thing that Joyce told me is tell them that he needs a laxative when he gets there. They need to give him things to get his bowel moving because they're going to pump him full of a lot of painkillers. He hasn't eaten in a while. Get the laxatives. And I kept asking for it, and Dave never got the laxatives the whole time. So Dave started getting, like, for those 7 days, just the most intense pain in his stomach because he hadn't gone to the bathroom. And it can it can all get worse. I can tell so many things that happen if you...
Gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But we were very lucky in the sense.
International
Expeditions. Their office was right across the street from the hospital, so they had a translator come in. So we had a translator there with us every day, provided at no cost to us. They're translating what the doctors were saying. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known what we. Deb's trying to do Google Translate on her phone, and it was. It was very difficult. More so for Deb, I think.
I had to laugh at what was going on for those several first days because they just kept taking Dave for tests, and then a new specialist would come in, and it was like a movie, like you said. The translator and the doctors would be talking like for 10 minutes, blah 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 blah, and after all that, I'm sitting here waiting, and then the translator would go to me and say, "Yes, they concur. He broke his back." I'm like, you've been talking for 10 minutes. What have you been talking about? And that's all you say. And then I felt like I was in like Leonardo DiCaprio and not The Aviator. Yeah, it was The Aviator. Or one of those ones. You can't catch me if you can, where he was pretending he was a doctor.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying, I concur. Because that's all the doctors kept doing. Every specialist came in and they just kept saying, they concur. He has a broken back. And I was like, I'm in a movie. I'm in a movie.
So what did we spend? We spent 9 days,
9 days.
in Iquitos. And this whole time, Deb's talking to the insurance company because I got to try and get home, right? I can't fly on a commercial airline at all, obviously. Because
the doctors have to sign off.
They have to sign off for me to
be able
travel.
to sit up, which you couldn't. So they had to sign off and say, you need an airplane. You need an air...
An air ambulance. So basically what I needed is I needed an air ambulance to get home.
Yeah.
And that was a whole... it wasn't an ordeal with the insurance company. But
it was an ordeal. I ended up really telling them off too. Like, you have to be strong with insurance. Like, because I had been talking to a woman all week about getting Dave home. He has a broken back. And when Friday came, when I called again, like saying, like, is there anything available? she was gone, and someone else took over and said, well, we can't do anything till Monday. And that's where I was like, this is completely not acceptable. I've been talking all week. And I couldn't believe that an insurance company put us on hold till Monday. And sadly, you have to yell and lose it before they really help. And then they actually did help, and we had a plane within about 24 hours.
But the problem was that the reason I couldn't get home is I couldn't get a bed
in Canada.
Oh,
nobody would take me because of my spinal injury.
Yes, they were full.
They were full.
Out of all the issues, it's on our end.
Yeah.
That's what ended up being, Because I said, yes, you asked first.
No, I was just going to say, we'll get into all your tips and strategies on with regards to insurance and how to handle that in a second, because we definitely got to talk about, we got to turn this into a positive somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, so how long were you guys, like, that whole ordeal, like, how long did that whole thing take? Like,
okay, getting to
getting
from the boat to the I know this for a fact because getting to the boat to the hospital took 11 hours of Dave just sitting with no water, no liquids, no painkiller. He was dehydrated from the heat, and he was in severe pain. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
And I'll never forget the relief, because as soon as I got him to the hospital, they put an IV with painkillers in him. And I remember, I have a picture of him. I started, like, as I calmed down, I was like, you actually told me. You should take some pictures of this. Because I had no intention. Dave's like, get pictures. It'll be a story.
Oh my gosh. And are those are the pictures that you shared like a little while ago?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
They're pretty crappy. Like, they're crappy pictures, obviously, because I was just taking them, like, in stress.
But they look bad, though. I mean, I mean, when you see that either way, it's just like something bad happened to him. Like, you know, like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay,
so once they put the IV in you started feeling.
Yeah, I started feeling better. So I completely remember when it was such a weird feeling when the air ambulance came, because you could hear these.
Are we going to that now?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't talk about, like, all the stuff going on. I
don't
wanted
worry
to get to the laxatives really fast. Okay, they didn't give him laxatives the whole time, and Dave's in severe pain, and, like, luckily our insurance covered a private room, and I got to stay beside him. So I'm this crazy person walking around for 9 days in this clinic, and I remember, like, I had socks on with a long dress and a t-shirt, and I just looked like a crazy woman, right? And I'm walking around, and I'm getting mad at the nurses and doctors because they're not giving Dave a laxative, and I the only thing I have on my iPhone is incompetent, and I'm holding it up to him, calling them all incompetito.
Helping the situation, for sure.
Because
they really want to help you now. Oh, right. You think we're
the doors.
Yeah, exactly. You think we're incompetent, right? Oh, okay, let's see how well you help yourself then.
That's true. But this was after several days when Dave's like, I need to go to the bathroom, and he's in severe pain. So after all this, now I'm looking back on it, they probably just did it out of spite, because the air ambulance finally did come, like, after the 9th day, and I thought they were I didn't know they were coming yet. I thought they were coming the next day. But once they landed in Peru, they came straight to Dave to see him. But, like, we weren't flying out for another 12 hours, because what happens is once they land, they need 12 hours rest before they can go. But I thought I'd be seeing them in 12 hours. So I'm sitting there with Dave, and they walk into the room, and I hear these 2 Canadian accents, and I just start crying, because suddenly I'm talking to someone in English.
Yeah.
And they came to check on him. They said, we're not going to leave for 12 hours, but we just want to check on you, blah, 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 tells them all the things. And they say, whatever you do, don't get a laxative, because you're about to fly.
Oh, jeez.
And so we're like, okay, it's fine, because
no worries. I haven't had one for 9 days.
Oh my
They're not going to give me one now.
So I am not lying. A couple hours later, they come in, the nurses, after they, like, the Canadian people, they come in with laxatives. And I lose on them. And I'm just letting, like, get out. You get out. And then that's where I'm holding up my incompetito again. I've been like, I've been telling you laxatives for all week. And I've been using the translator. I was so angry.
So you just pictured Deb.
In my crazy dress that I've been wearing.
This crazy dress, you know.
Just an ugly skirt.
Haven't showered in days, running around, you know, raggedy hairs, calling people incompetent.
And I'm like barricading. Stay away from him. All about laxatives. I'm not even worried about the broken back anymore. anymore. Dave hasn't pooped in 9 days.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
So that's why I wanted to say.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say. This is literally a movie. Like, I'm not even kidding with you. Like, you can literally, I mean, you guys are in the industry. You need to make this into a movie. Like, I'm not even kidding, because it's literally, like, I can literally see everything happen. Like the beginning of the movie, we're all like, oh yeah, we're planning to go to the Amazon. This should be a fun trip, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and then literally, then danger strikes, and then all kinds of, oh my gosh.
It's that love story of two people going on their first trip together, getting to know each other, and then how do they survive in the Amazon?
Yeah, exactly, totally. I'll do all the narration for you. In a world where
I love it. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so you finally get on the plane.
Yes.
So they finally want to bring you laxatives, but now you can't take it. So now you get on the plane.
I know. That's my biggest pet peeve of the whole thing. Forget Dave's back.
Yeah. So what's it like being on that kind of airplane? Not that I want to ever be on one, but it'll be good to hear your perspective of it. Like, what's that plane? Like, what's it like being on a plane like that? Like, what's the difference?
It's crazy.
Like, you know,
it's state of the art, man.
Well, it's state of the art. It's quite small. Like, it's a jet stream with all the seats taken out, with except maybe one or two, I think, because I'm in there on a gurney on. The best painkillers I've ever had. They just kept giving it to me. They just let me know. You know, whenever you want it.
Yeah, they actually said to you, just take as much as you can now, because once they get to Canada, they're not going to be as generous. So enjoy it now while you can. Because basically, they want to make you as comfortable as possible for the flight.
And what I didn't realize is that, from what I remember, there's no bathroom on the plane.
Not that I recall.
There's no toilet. But not that I could get up and use it anyway.
No, you could.
But that's one of the reasons why they were like, don't get a laxative or anything like that. Because we did have to stop and refuel somewhere or something like that.
So it's a very small plane. There's enough for Dave for a stretcher. There's the nurse or the doctor that sits beside him and takes care of him. The pilot, and then they let me, and I sat in one little seat right in the back, like just kind of looking straight at his feet. Wow, so that was it.
Wow, that's incredible. And so this plane is going from, you said, Peru back to Toronto then, right?
Yeah. Yes. So we had to stop, I think, in Colombia
to refuel somewhere.
Okay.
So I got off the plane then, and I don't think there was a bathroom on, because I got off to go to the bathroom.
I don't think so.
Okay. And you don't need to worry about Dave, because he can't use the washroom.
No, Dave was happiest he had been in 9 days. He was on cloud 9. How you doing, Dave? I'm fine.
That was great.
Floating.
That's hilarious. Wow. Okay. So now you're back. In Toronto, and I guess now everything. Well, I mean, I do find it a little bit concerning that they had to delay things because of the hospital bed.
It was a big concern.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows, like, because a lot of people think that our healthcare system is perfect, and that therein is actually one of the major problems with our healthcare system, right? So
actually, this was a big story. Like, not big story, but this was a thing we glossed over, because we were calling everywhere. When I was in Peru, I was asking, like, and I even said, can I just call 911? Like, can't you fly me home and I'll call 911? And that's where, like, I'm sorry, the flight is a $60,000 flight, so we can't just have you fly home willy-nilly and call 911. We need to have a place for you to go.
Right.
So we were like, at this point, I'll take anywhere. We were trying any hospital from Windsor to Ottawa. We're like, just give me anywhere.
Smokes. Wow.
And oddly enough, what was very strange, it was the Woodstock Hospital, where my parents live in Woodstock, that took Dave, which is really weird, because Dave and I were traveling full-time at the time, so we did not have, like, a proper, like, place to go home to. So we're like, this is amazing. I'm going right to my parents.
Oh, wow.
So
I think the issue was, too, is because it's a spinal injury, that you need to go to a hospital that is either very close to a spinal hospital or an actual hospital that deals with that.
And Woodstock worked in conjunction with Western in London, Western Hospital. Yeah. Okay. Like, they had to actually consult with a hospital in London to say, will you help us look after this guy? Yeah. So it was very strange how we ended up.
The first thing I wanted was a laxative. I just
Yeah,
wanted a
of
laxative.
course.
Okay, that's the next story.
Of course. No, the only thing I was just gonna say was just that my brother's an injury lawyer. So that there is true, like if you get it, depending on the type of accident that you get into, they have to take you to a specific hospital because
Right.
like if it's a head injury or something like that, you have to go to a specific hospital because not every single hospital can handle that type of situation. So yeah, so I was just gonna add that makes sense. Yeah,
Well, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing to clarify because it's not that we didn't have any general beds available. Right. It was that we didn't have any beds available for a spinal injury like that.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
We still have issues with hospital beds though, so
yes.
I'm not gonna. But still, you know, you're right. Like they had to find a specific bed for you because of spinal injury. Okay, so now you guys are at home, which is perfect. And even this part still could be part of your movie. The fact that you just end up at home with your parents. Like, this is like...
That's very weird.
It's such a weird thing, because we could have been at a hospital in Kingston. We could have been at a hospital in Windsor. I was like, I don't care. Just take any hospital.
Which
not
literally,
meaning all of them would have been great. I just mean like not near. I wouldn't have been near my family at either.
Well, this is it because, and just so for the listeners to understand, like I mean, Windsor is all the way in the west, and Kingston's all the way in the east, with perspective to Toronto in the middle. So that's so you're lucky that you ended up in a hospital like where your parents actually are. So that's brilliant. Yeah.
And of all the hospitals in Ontario, Woodstock is a small town, so that one made no sense whatsoever. And they didn't know I lived in Woodstock.
No. Like
when they were choosing it, they didn't. They said, "Okay, we've got you going to Woodstock General." I'm like, "What? My parents live in Woodstock. That's perfect. Take it." Yeah.
Oh
so
my
it was good.
gosh, that's crazy. Okay, so you wanted to say something about getting a laxative in the hospital.
That's all I wanted. I just needed to go to the bathroom. I was like, I didn't want to eat too much because I couldn't go to the bathroom. So they did give me, a bunch of laxatives to go to the bathroom. And obviously...
it didn't work.
It takes a long time.
I don't know how far we want to go.
It's 9 days of being... 10 days or 11 days now of being bunged up.
Oh, so you're backed up.
Oh, I'm backed up. I'm in so much pain.
He's been on serious narcotics the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Because all they did was kept him drugged up. They were just keeping him in Peru comfortable. I don't know why they refused to give him a laxative. They probably just didn't want to deal with the mess.
So you can imagine the relief. That's all I have to say is it did, when it finally did happen.
I'm going to say it anyway. In Woodstock, he was so bunged up and the laxatives didn't work. They had to give him an enema.
Oh,
so
no.
I have lots of respect for the nurses there.
Oh, geez.
And I do remember they're like,
you were in real, and he has broken back still.
I still have a broken back, so they got to slip a bedpan underneath me. And I remember that happening. And then
I'm in the hall and you're screaming.
And then after it was so much pain. And then after all that, I was like, so I'm so sorry. That must have been really bad. There must have been a lot. And the nurse just looked at me and went,
no,
nothing. I'm like, nothing.
It was a trickle.
It was like next to nothing. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh. Wow.
It ended up being, honestly, Dave ended up getting very sick from the narcotics and the not going. He got a bleeding ulcer from it. Yeah. He had to go in for surgery to cauterize the ulcer. Like, it all got, that messed up his system more than the back because he was so, and like they ended up like not, they had to just get him stable before they could even start thinking of getting his back in order because he's like, everything's starting to shut down on him now. And they were telling me how you have to get moving if your back isn't displaced or not weight bearing. We got to get him sitting up and moving.
Yeah.
And, that's just what they thought was the best in Peru. But what happened was they really ended up messing up your system. And it took a couple years for that to all get back in order.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question because, I mean, obviously, if you haven't gone to the bathroom for that long, like that starts to do damage on your inside. So
for sure.
That's why. So, I'm glad that it's a little bit.
It's pretty gross and funny.
Yeah, it is. But
I didn't even talk about my bedpan incident in Peru.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Oh, my God.
Lots of love.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, if that doesn't bring a couple together, nothing does.
Yeah. Exactly. If you could go through this kind of stuff together and still be together, then you were meant to be together. That's all I can say. Oh my gosh! So they had to do some work to get your your insides kind of in order. And then once they got that in order, then what was the next procedure with regards to your back? Did you have to have surgery, or was there anything?
No, I didn't have to have surgery. I had to go through pretty intensive physiotherapy for quite a few months. And I was very lucky. Like they said, they don't even know how I didn't do more damage to my back. I did make a full recovery. I ended up going back to work, obviously, way too early. And I ended up doing more damage to my back, where ironically, as you know, I just had back surgery. So
that's right.
I eventually had
a year ago.
Well, no, more than a year ago.
A little over. Okay.
I had to have back surgery to correct some residual stuff that had happened from that injury.
Holy smokes! So that because I remember like whenever we talk, you would talk about your back pain, right? Like, there was times where I remember when we were at like events together, you would say like you can't stand for too long or can't sit for too long or certain things like that. I remember, and then I remember when you went to get your back surgery.
I remember.
I didn't know it was connected to this story. You know, like,
it was, because that was a residual effect from that. So
I think the last time we saw you was the night before Dave's back surgery, because we haven't been back into Toronto since because COVID happened a little while after that. So we came to a travel massive, and Dave, obviously we didn't come to drink or anything, but we came, and Dave had a surgery the next day. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was all to do with this, like all the residuals from that.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the thing. We didn't, we were in the middle of building our business in 2014, like really like I said earlier, make hay while the sun shines, and we were like, we gotta go, and we were young, and Dave's like, okay, I'm good to go. So we took a contract like 4 months later, and
shouldn't have done
that's
that.
when we realized we really needed to strengthen the back more, and I think it just kept weakening over the years. And then Dave had you never really recovered until you finally got surgery.
Until after surgery.
Yeah, and especially because you guys are adventure. So I mean, you're probably doing a whole bunch of stuff that's adventure related, and just
I often think about.
More.
Yeah. I often think about us doing that horse trek in Kyrgyzstan. I'm like, that could not have been good for Dave's back.
Oh, damn.
Like 3 days in the mountains on horse.
Nothing was good for my back.
Wow. What? I mean, oh my gosh. So this particular episode is the last episode of the block of episodes that I'm doing. So this is like, what a way to end this block. I don't even know, like this story has it all.
You may have to cut it down.
No, I'm leaving everything. This is like incredible. Like it's like there's action, there's action, there's everything's in here, man. There's
even romance in the end.
There's romance. There's tropical storms. There's pilots holding on to trees to keep the plane safe. There's no laxative. You don't need laxative. There's like, oh my gosh, it's like there's even after effects. Like you can even do 5 years later, and then now it shows you actually recovering with a back surgery. Like it's like, holy smokes, there's so many parts to this. This is such an incredible story.
This segment is brought to you by GPS My City. Do you love exploring cities on foot at your own pace? Well, GPS My City's mobile apps, available on iOS and Android, feature self-guided city walks and GPS-powered travel articles written by travel bloggers and travel content creators for over 1,000 cities worldwide. Visit the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, let's break this down.
So before we end, I definitely want to talk about some things that you guys learned from this and some takeaways from the so that way the audience just look at this and go, see, this is the reason why I don't travel, right? So let's talk about some of the things that you learned and some of the takeaways and some of the advice that you would give for people. I know you started with insurance, but so I guess that's
like one thing I would say is also for insurance, because I hear horror stories of people saying that their insurance company didn't cover anything and other things. We got everything covered. Like that would have cost us about $100,000, and it cost us nothing. And they even actually, the one thing though that's really important is I've always just in my head call. Like I called before I did anything. I used and being with an organized tour really helped.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being on my own in the middle of the Amazon. I wouldn't have had any way to call anybody. I wouldn't know what to do. So that helped a lot. But call before you have anything, if you can, at least, because that's when insurance companies, if you have the go-ahead, you're free to do whatever you want. And then get your paperwork in order. Because Dave had CAT scans, he had X-rays, he had MRIs, everything in Iquitos. And I had to gather up all that paperwork so that I could hand it in when I got home.
Wow. It's very interesting because I don't know what you would do if you were traveling. Like if I had done that by myself, and nobody else was there, who would look after getting all my tests and all that kind of stuff?
I think if you were solo traveling, you would have just been stuck there because they were like in Peru. They said you'll have to be flat on your back for 2 months. That's what they told me. So you would have just been laying flat on your back and probably come out far worse because you didn't get moving. So everything would have been a disaster.
And you didn't have the laxative.
No laxative.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See what I mean about the laxative? Like Dave literally, when we got back to Woodstock, you were throwing up blood, like you were really bad.
Oh my gosh.
Because from all of the that's another thing I didn't even go into detail, but he did have a serious bleeding ulcer.
Of course,
So. Yeah, ask get somebody, have insurance is my big takeaway. And like I said, everyone on the cruise didn't have it.
But I do think that for the more remote destinations like that, especially if you're a little bit older, it's definitely worth it looking into going with an organized tour because I think the benefit of having not only a satellite phone, but having a translator, having all these things that were provided by the company that you wouldn't have if you were traveling independently. Now, I'm not saying don't ever travel independently.
No, we're all
definitely
about
not. But for something where we were that remote, I was very happy that we were with a company because who knows what would have happened had I had a mishap when.
Yeah. So for any of the readers out there, any of the listeners out there who are worried about, who are saying this is why you don't travel, well, no, I think that maybe. If you're wary of it, just go with an organized tour first. There's so many tours nowadays that take you off the beaten path that you don't have to go and do it independently like we've always done in the past. And then like I laugh at, we've always done independent travel in the past and never had a problem. Yeah. And then like the one time we go,
well, that's what's kind of funny about it, right? In that all of our life we've done a lot of extreme adventures and never had something like this happen. Whereas it just happened me getting on a boat, I happened to slip, and that's how it happened. So you can't go through life living thinking that something is going to happen or being afraid that it's going to happen. Yes, you should be prepared, like having travel insurance and stuff like that, but don't let that ever scare you or frighten you out of going out there and traveling, whether it be independently or with a tour or traveling overseas. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you're prepared for what is to come, then don't let that scare you off of travel.
Because usually accidents happen in the easiest situations. I remember we did a tour after it was very strange. We were approached by a drug company, Abbott. Was it Abbott?
Yeah, it was Abbott.
And they asked us if we had any story about.
Do they make laxatives? Is that what they do?
Yeah, really.
No, I'm joking.
But we were just doing a thing. They didn't even know we had the accident. But then they were like, "Oh, have you ever had any accident on the road?" And we're like, "Do we have one?" So anyway, we were traveling around with the doctor about the importance of getting insurance and vaccines and stuff like that. And the doctor we told him about it. He's like, falling down, just slipping on the stairs is one of the highest ways of breaking your back. So I thought that was crazy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When you guys make your movie, or if someone decides to make a movie on your story, they're gonna leave out that part about you slipping on the stairs. It's gonna be that you went to hike somewhere and fell down like this rocky enclave.
Yeah. Something a little bit more dramatic, right?
While being chased by bandits.
Exactly. While being chased by bandits and a jaguar, just because.
So the whole thing is we have to evade the bandits while we get home.
This thing's right in itself.
Yeah, we have to flag down like Jewel of the Nile. Yeah,
it's absolutely nuts. Like I can't believe this. And to your point about the phone, which is actually interesting because you did talk about that, but even the satellite phones wasn't working. So that's how remote you guys were.
Yeah.
So you're right. Definitely, to be with a tour guide, for sure.
Yeah, we actually had to get on the boat to start working back. I
also think the sat phone too, because the weather was coming in, and
that's true.
It didn't work because of that.
But we were really in the, like we said, really in the middle of nowhere. It was crazy because even Iquitos is in the middle of the Amazon. Like it's
remote.
Yeah, it's a city that is not, you can't get to it by road. So it's just known to be this like really remote city. So even where we spent the 9 days was crazy in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
It's really crazy. It's a scary feeling to just go, I can't get out of here. Like, and rely on like doctors saying, yes, you can go. We had to get signed off by so many different people. Like insurance isn't just easy saying, I need insurance, take me home. It's like getting sign-offs from everybody.
Yeah. And in that moment, the one thing you want the most is to be back in your country where at least you're somewhat familiar with stuff. Because the last place that I'm going to want to be is in a hospital where I don't know the language. I don't know what these people are saying about me, and I don't know what's going on. Like the first thing you want to do is try to get back home. So, I mean, it makes sense. Like, oh my gosh. Wow.
That's what kept me sane. Friends were so supportive. Everybody was giving me advice. I had friends who broke a back who said, well, what vertebrae did he break? Don't worry, the L1 and L2 aren't as bad as long as it's not the C. So there were things that were really helping me that get through it that I would have been alone otherwise. So here I'm in the Amazon, like just texting people and stuff.
And I think that for like for Deb, I always think when I talk about this story, it's always that I find it was much harder on her or on the person who is not going through it than the person actually going through it. Like, sure, I have to deal with pain and not being able to go to the bathroom, but, like it's really nothing in comparison to dealing with all the stress of having to get all the paperwork, trying to communicate in a language you don't know, going through translators, trying to get things done. All that kind of stuff is incredibly stressful. So it was nice that social media was there, that she could have a bit of an outlet to talk to people about it as well. Because, when you're in a foreign country and you have nobody to talk to, it can get pretty lonely, and it can drive you a little bit crazy. So
agreed. But
so there's another tip: get a local SIM card if you don't have a good international SIM card. The local ones work better anyway.
I think I have that I have that Roam thing, it's like it creates an internet hotspot kind of thing. So it connects to the satellite. It's called Skyroam, I think.
Oh, cool! I'll check that out.
Yeah, so it's just like it's like your own little Wi-Fi thing. So literally, what I do is I will like the pricing around it is, I think it's like about $100, and you can have unlimited internet for a month.
Nice.
Right? But then it has various price points, so you could do like $9 for like, for a day or something like that, whatever.
Right.
Sometimes the SIM cards could definitely be cheaper, right? Especially if you're going to be in a place for a long time. So it really just depends. But I always have that as an option, especially when I come off a plane and I'm in another country and I don't have a SIM card yet, because the SIM cards in the airport are usually the most expensive ones. So it's better to go into the city. So in that time, I'll use this, just so I have internet, so I could figure, okay, I need to get this train, whatever.
That's
and then
once
I get into the city, then I'll get a SIM card. Like,
we don't have that hotspot. I like that. I'm going to get that. Skyroam.
Yeah, it's totally cool. You could connect like 6 devices to it, so you could connect your computer and all kinds of stuff to it. Yeah, it's
cool.
I find it very, very useful. So
nice.
But that said, I want you guys to be able to promote yourself again. So if people want to find you, where can they find you?
They can find us at our travel blog at theplanetd.com, and also on all of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what other ones are there? Twitter, all those. We are The Planet D. That's The Planet D.
The Planet D.
The Planet D, man.
The Planet D. There's so many great ways to say it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so you know that I love hanging out with you guys, so I can't wait to have you guys come back again and tell your next story.
Excellent, and then I can't wait to have a beer in person together.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea.
Swap COVID stories.
Exactly, but as I said before, before we were talking, I'm not coming to see you guys until I have both my vaccine shots, only so I can hug people.
I agree. I miss hugging.
Yes, because we, like, whenever we see each other, we have these big, huge bear hugs.
I know. I don't think we ever let go. I don't think we let go all night. I think we just walk around in a big hug all night long.
Yeah, exactly. So I personally wouldn't be able to handle coming to see you and not being able to get my fix of that hug. So I would rather wait, even though it's painful. I'd rather wait until I have both shots so I can give a proper hug.
Hopefully August. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us, Chris. I really
fun.
appreciate it.
I
That
love
was
catching
fun.
Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out here. You guys are awesome.
Woo!
All right, case closed. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget that you can listen to this show over at www.travelhorrorstoriespodcast.com. And if you're listening on your mobile device, please take a second to give the episode a 5-star rating and leave a comment. It really helps the show, and its episodes get discovered by more people. Plus, your feedback will help me tweak and change the show to make it the best show on the internet. Yes. Cheers.